Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 36, recorded in the D. Fauntleroy Recording Studios in Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my cousin and co-host, Gary up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Gary.
What's going on, Mike?
Do you, with these low numbers that we're doing, as far as episode numbers compared to our sister podcast, the WDW Beyond the Gates podcast, do you think of athletes' numbers?
Yeah.
Like a couple episodes again, it was David Ortiz, number 30.
Yeah, we had the Larry Bird episode.
We had Larry Bird before David Ortiz.
36 is an odd one, though.
It is. I don't know of many 36s. 37, I think that I actually think it was a pitcher for the Red Sox. There was a couple righties back when they had good teams who were like number 5 starters.
Okay. I'm thinking, I always go to football for 37. Like, that would be like a third string running back would be like 37, or a fullback.
Or a fullback back in the day when they called them fullbacks, yeah.
Like Merrill Hodge could have been 37. I don't think he was, but
who wore 37 for the Reds? Because 38 was Schilling. He'll be coming up.
Yeah. 36, I can't think of anybody that was 36. Because even like defensive backs are in the 20s, and then the 40s are like safeties, like 42 Ronnie Lott. But 36, I don't know. There's probably a very obvious one that we're both missing.
Could be.
Not really very good ones. 36 might be the worst number.
Yeah.
Because when I Googled it, the first thing that came up is the most notable number 36 was Shaquille O'Neal when he played 37 games for the Celtics. He wore number 36.
Really?
If that's the most notable 36, that could be the worst athlete number.
37, I think his name was Frank.
Oh, Jerome Bettis was 36.
He was at the.
He was pretty good.
Heath Hembry. Carlos Pena.
Okay.
I mean, we don't really need to.
No, we can
lose our audience this soon into an episode. I mean, we usually 3 or 4 minutes in, but we're at 2:30 and we're already having people tune out.
Yeah, I remember, I think we had this exact conversation 11 years ago in back when it was the Por Favor podcast about the same thing.
Were we really? We were having this conversation of who was like number 7, who was.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I think something similar, at least.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on in your neck of the woods? Anything good?
No, nothing really.
No. Any contracts? You make any offers on those contracts? You've been like
so close. I'm so close.
Now, is this one you're gonna try to like sneak past the goalie, or are you gonna
I keep talking about how great it would be to go there every year and just take people and do a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
And she knows where I'm going. And then I found somebody who did the new refurb of the cottage. It's absolutely gorgeous. They killed it. I'm like, look, you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner. There's the Atlantic Ocean out there. I mean, this cottage is so gorgeous.
Just laying it on.
And you can't like say, well, I'll forego like, our Riviera stay at Christmas, or we'll get like, I need all those stays. And that's the problem part. It's like, if you want to go do a cottage at Thanksgiving, that means like we're not going, to the Grand Floridian and Riviera.
Also, I mean, you got to own there to get a cottage.
Yeah, it's very hard to get. Yes, it's very hard to get. It's the dues. I'm with you. Those scare me. But like I said, you can easily hide the contract and just figure out the dues later. Or if you could just rent out the points just to cover your dues.
Yeah, but you and I both know that
we're not doing that.
We're not renting points. If we have points, we want to use them for stays.
You think you could use 400 to 500 points easily?
Yeah, I'd stay at the cabins or the bungalows or Grand Village.
So no number's enough for you.
No, because the only reason I wouldn't get more is because I can't at some point I wouldn't be able to afford the dues. Like if I had
There'd be a point where
700,
you're looking at the Quicken pie chart, and like 86% of your outgo is your dues.
yeah, I mean, if
Your
my
CPA is not going to appreciate what the hell is this.
if my dues payment's $2,500 a month, that's going to be a problem when my DVC dues are more than my mortgage payment, right? Wouldn't that be?
Yeah.
That's when you have to start maybe reining it in a little bit.
I mean, when you're about ready to lose your house because you don't want to get rid of your DVC contracts, you're in a lot of trouble, aren't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, right now I could swallow the dues payments, but you get up to that 600-700 point mark. That's a lot of scratch. That's a car payment a month right there. Even at the low end.
And it comes down to, would you rather carpool with your wife and
start taking an Uber to work every day?
You're like those broke kids when you're 20 when you get married right out of high school. All right, honey, I'll see you later. Dropping her off. She's got a brown bag. All right,
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, those Vero Beach contracts, the closer we get to 2042, the cheaper they're going to be. It's just the dues. I mean, at some point, there's going to be a time where people are selling them for like pennies.
You think
just
so?
To get rid of just to get out of the dues, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, if you have if you're selling a 200 point contract for what was it, $34 or something?
37, yeah. So you're looking at $7,400, right? Times 2, 37 times 2, and
right.
a couple zeros.
So you're trying to get $5 to $7,000 out of it, right?
Yeah.
How much are the dues? $2,800. That's only 2 years of dues just to get out of the contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at some point, people are going to sell them for $5, $10, and I don't think Disney's going to buy them back because who's going to buy a Vero Direct?
Nobody.
When it has 14 years left on it, you know what I mean?
Nobody.
So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see as some of these near the end of their.
Don't tell me you don't look at them though, too.
Thank
Not
God
as
those
seriously as me, huh?
Thank God those dues are high. If those dues were like $10, that's a dangerous.
The contracts would be more though. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, of course,
but it's plus it's 2.5 hours from me. I can go a couple times. Like that is not attractive to you because you'll do a wraparound here and there, but it's not a place you would go to every year or every other year.
Yeah, that's probably like a once every 5-year destination for me.
Unless you fall in love with it. I haven't met a person who didn't like it there.
It's harder to get to though. That's the beauty of Orlando. There's always a ton of flights, easy to get to, direct flights.
Yeah, but it's a shorter ride for you from Orlando than it is for me. It's only about an hour and a half for you if you rent a car.
Yeah, no, that's true. We'll see. I mean, I'll stay there eventually, and then who knows? Then it's like maybe we should get a contract here. And by that time, they'll be like $20 a point.
I watched a video and somebody was saying, one of the cons that people say is that there's not much to do here, which I think is actually a positive. I'm like, yeah, that's the reason I do like it because you get there and you're not stressed about going to parks and getting dining reservations and doing this. Their food's fantastic, so you can stay on campus.
Right.
There's a lot of options to stay off campus. I mean, this is a whole show that we're doing right now.
Yeah, we could table it. I just thought I'd mention your sending me those links all the time.
Yeah, she was in here. She's still checking on our bird, resident bird out front.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking on my computer screen, and it's just Bob Ferreri's website.
Yeah.
Open on. I got dual screens, and I think I had my Excel on one. It's terrible. You got the Excel on your right hand screen, and then Ferrari's DVC for Less or whatever DVC for Less website open.
It's a dangerous combination because you could talk yourself into anything at that point.
Got a calculator right now. It's just saying 558.33333. I'm not sure what that 6,700 divided by 12. I'm not sure what I tried figuring out last night.
That's how many years are on it. Yeah. That's the cost of the contract divided by years remaining.
6,700 divided by 12. Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh no, that's your monthly payment. That must be your monthly dues payment. if you bought that contract.
No, 67's high.
Not with another 200 points. You have 500 points.
Oh, that might be all 3 of my contracts.
Yeah, you don't even have the third.
That could.
That's a big number. $600 a month.
Okay.
It's when you start getting the rental calculator. Oh, how many points do I have to rent out to make it worth it?
It's like when you were younger and you're drunk chatting with like college chicks when you're in college. You're like, oh, you wake up the next morning. What did I do? I hope I didn't say something stupid. Now,
I hope I didn't offer on a contract.
Your offer was accepted. Oh man, I had way too many vodka tonics last night.
Whoops. Oh man, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna instead of drunk dial, you're gonna drunk offer on a contract. That would be a problem, wouldn't it?
Yes. Isn't it amazing how we evolved, though?
Yeah.
You know what was important 25 years ago is not important now.
No, that's true.
It's
all right. What's the topic this week? Because it certainly isn't this.
Well, Bob Iger, I think we mentioned last week, talked about how they are no longer going to do DVC standalone resorts.
Off property, basically.
Off property. Yep. And we thought it would be a good topic to discuss. If we were in charge, where would we want to put a standalone property?
Yeah, and we said, I think logistically, it would have to be in the United States under DVC, but we're not beholden to those.
Who cares? We're rule breakers, aren't we?
Yeah. Real estate law, who cares about that? I don't know anything about it anyway.
That's why we pay our lawyers the big bucks, right?
Exactly. So I came up with a list of my top 5.
I don't think I even have 5.
Oh, okay. Well, I should probably start then.
Yeah, you can probably get us going here.
So you said standalone, and I was thinking outside of the United States, like outside of the parks.
But that's what I thought he meant. I thought he called it standalone, like an Alani and a Vero Beach and a Hilton Head.
Right. However, the number 5 on my list wouldn't necessarily be a standalone, but it would be a big departure. And I'm thinking of a Disneyland Paris DVC resort.
Yeah, I thought about that
as my number 5 because that would be really something that could convince me to try to go over there.
Oh, you're going to go.
But if I could use my points and stay, because I heard the hotels there are very expensive if you stay on property.
I also heard that park tickets are included if you stay on property.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
But I could be wrong. I'm just regurgitating what I hear on YouTube's from now and again.
But I don't know how full these resorts are, or maybe converting one of them into a DVC, selling those points, or building a brand new one over there. Because it seems like the resorts they have, I haven't looked into them too much, but they're more like Americanized, right? Those resorts.
Yes.
One is very similar to the Grand Floridian. One's like a Pop Century.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forget what the third one is. I think it's a very upscale one as well. But if they made a more French, like Gothic style hotel, very luxurious, very old, like cathedral looking, almost like one of the old churches in Paris,
with great restaurants,
like that. Great restaurants, great amenities, beautiful rooms, nice views. I could see that being a big hit. DVC members going there, staying there, doing their Paris trip. A lot of the foreign people, a lot of British people are DVC members.
Yeah.
They'd be able to do those.
Give them some nice options so they don't have to come here every few years.
Yeah, easier stays. So that was the first one on my list. Thought that would be interesting. Kind of an easy one with the parks being over there already, but that's one I would definitely take advantage of if they ever did that. What's the first one you had on your list?
I have DVC up in your neck of the woods in New England.
Okay.
We could do either a Vermont or New Hampshire.
Okay, interesting.
DVC.
Like kind of in the woods, like a wilderness lodge.
Yes.
But in the actual wilderness.
Yes, and you're gonna see a lot of the same theming. I'm gonna have massages. It's gonna be
Oh, okay.
hot tubs and saunas. Like if you're up in like central New Hampshire or central Vermont, it's gonna be a chill, like a Saratoga Springs but we're also gonna have options where we can bus you. We can do different, not necessarily Adventures by Disney, but we can do a day trip down to Boston.
Gotcha.
Or we
Yeah.
can do like the Paul Revere, and we can do
Yeah, the
all the
Freedom Trail,
the
all that
Freedom
stuff.
Trail, all the historical sites in Boston. Or we can have an option to go down to New York City. And I think we have a lot of members. We know for a fact there's a lot in Florida, but there's a lot in New York and New Jersey. And that would be a nice escape, especially for somebody like you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you wanted to get away for 3 or 4 days and have that bubble feeling, that all inclusive, everything's there.
Yeah. No,
Do
I
a
like
half
that
hour
idea.
drive up to central New Hampshire or central Vermont.
There's a lot of beautiful places up in the mountains and along the lakes and things like that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see, like, Lake Winnipesaukee area.
If you were
That's
somewhere
really
around Lake
beautiful.
Winnipesaukee, now you have all the boating activities that you can
Right.
do, correct?
Exactly. I like that one. That's a good one. I'm surprised that made your list as much as you hate this part of the country.
You're exactly right. It was difficult for me, but as a businessman, first and foremost, we're all about making money
That's right.
for this podcast. So you have to put your
Put your biases aside
your
and
own feelings aside and look at the calculators.
yeah. I mean, there are a lot of members in the Northeast, but
There
think
are
of
a
the
lot.
population density. That's where a lot of people live.
They're
From
correct.
like Washington D.C. up to the Northeast to Boston is a huge chunk of the population,
Exactly.
and a lot of those people are Walt Disney World fans and DVC members. The second one on my list, I'm sticking with the same theme. I'm going to Tokyo,
Oh, I see where you're going.
and I want a DVC property that's themed to Tokyo Disney Sea. Like, have it attached, kind of like the Grand Cal is attached to California Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love a Tokyo Disney Sea DVC resort that's attached to the park where you could go in directly.
Okay.
You have theme park views from there, and that's one that I'd want more themed Disney-like. I wouldn't want it to be necessary because if it's going to be attached to that park, there's a lot of there's different areas. There's actually like a New England area to that park. There's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That would be a really cool theme for a hotel, kind of like that steampunk style. I'd like that. That would be a cool one for sure. I don't know what that's technically called. That's like the 60s version of what the future would be. I forget. There's a specific term for that, but I don't remember
Okay.
what it is. Kind of like the Jetsons stuff. Kind of how the contemporary is. That's what the contemporary was themed to the future back in the 60s and 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But more themed towards the park. But I'd really like that. I think that would be a big hit as well. You get something closer to California. Not that it's close, but you know, those West Coast members, the Aulani people. You said there's a lot of Japanese that go to Aulani, correct?
Yes.
So I assume there's a lot of DVC members that are Japanese that go to Aulani in California.
That could be the case.
So that would probably fit in with that as well. But I just like I've always wanted to go to Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. It looks so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Way more than the Shanghai one. I think Tokyo would be my first choice before Paris. For just the parks, not as an overall trip. Like, I think Paris would be an easier sell to take the family and do the whole, the
tourist
thing.
Yeah, sure.
And then work it in. Whereas Tokyo, I think I'd go just for that.
Yeah, but then you go that far, you have to do
Explore
regular Tokyo. You got to take Tokyo and eat at the restaurant. You like that dining anyways.
That's true. So those are the only two on my list that incorporate current parks.
Okay.
So the other ones are going to be more standalone.
Okay.
But I'm curious what your second option was here.
Southwestern United States, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah.
Okay. Kind of like
And
Grand Canyon area.
yeah, it's now we're gonna start incorporating some Adventures by Disney. They have a great ABD down there,
Okay.
and it does parts of Arizona and Utah. And you're just doing whitewater rafting. You're doing horseback riding. You're
Mhm.
hanging out under the stars and roasting marshmallows and barbecuing out, and you name it. Another ranch style, luxurious,
Yeah.
lots of spas, great dining.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I could picture it almost being like Coronado Springs, but on a grander scale.
Yes, very grand. Yes,
Like a wilderness lodge looking building, but themed more like Coronado Springs.
yes, but like you said, very grand.
Because I think these standalone ones, you're gonna need a lot more in the resort itself.
Yeah, like you're gonna have that it factor when you walk through the lobby, and it's gonna
Mhm.
have all the windows like Animal Kingdom Lodge, and you're
Yes.
just gonna see the mountain range
In the
off in the back
desert,
in
yeah,
the desert, and yeah,
depending
that's
on which
it's
part,
gonna be
yeah.
that Alani wow factor as soon as you step foot in the lobby, and there's gonna be a ton of things on campus to do.
There has to be. Has to have great pool, probably a lazy river, that kinda stuff.
Mhm.
But the lobby has to be the hangout. There has to be a couple really good bars, a few good
Yes.
restaurants, great shopping,
Yep.
a spa, like you said.
And everything wide open, like, I'm thinking the
Mhm.
theming of the Animal Kingdom Lodge bar, like, you just want it to be you wanna hear everything and you wanna see the sights. You don't want a closed four-wall bar
Right,
at this
exactly.
place or at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It just doesn't fit in with the theming.
Yeah, because as much as we like, what's the one at, Yacht Club? Cruise Cup?
Yeah, Cruise Cup
Like, that's
and
a great bar, but that's you can walk by it 50 times without knowing it's there
mhm.
because it's off to the side. You want one that's out in the open and obvious. You want the lobby to be the lifeblood of that place.
Yep.
Some great rooms. Like, anything about these kinda resorts that aren't held next to the parks is the rooms have to be great
They really do, yeah.
because you're gonna probably be spending a lot of time in those rooms. They have to have nice amenities. You wanna have whirlpool tubs in all the rooms, not just
Yep.
the 2 bedrooms and up and things like that. It's gonna have to be a really
Yeah, have, like, the split bathroom where you have the walk-in shower like they have at the Grand Floridian and Riviera,
Yes.
and then where they have the bathtub, it's just like you said, a hot tub
Mhm.
or whirlpool jet.
Yeah, great balconies, things like that.
Maybe even have some other amenities, like where they have like when you're on a cruise ship and you can pay a little extra and have them stock your refrigerator.
Mm.
So you can have some spirits and
Yeah.
sodas and bottled water in your refrigerator, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're not really gonna wanna drive to get s or have or take delivery.
Sure. Now listen to this. Now just something I was thinking, wouldn't it be
Yeah.
great at a DVC like that or a hotel like that where you could have like cooking classes? I know you did like your sangria university and they do
Yes.
wine tastings, but imagine doing like a Southwest where you make tamales or something traditionally,
Yeah.
but that would
Yeah,
be
like they have a lab kitchen like they do on a lot of these cruise lines where you can sign up for a
yeah.
cooking class or a cocktail class or
Yeah, that would be
different
great.
wine tastings.
So the next one on my list I have is borrowing from your first one, and I thought Cape Cod would be a great place for a
Okay.
DVC resort. Incorporate the
Gonna be
beach.
like a beachy type of
Yes.
resort? You're
Yep.
gonna be on the water?
Like an old school beachy type of resort. Yeah.
Do
Now,
sailing? You gonna sail and
I don't know what they would have for excursions, but that's just a nice location. Obviously, in the summer, it's a huge draw. People go there from all over. Um, Seafood, Obviously, you'd have a really high-end seafood restaurant. You could even have, like, the clam shack for your quick service, where you have, chowder and fried clams and lobster rolls and things like that. I'd want it to be like an old school, almost kinda how the boardwalk is, or it has that old school feel of being on the
Like lots
beach.
of wood
Yes, and an
and
actual
dark.
boardwalk. It'd be
Yep.
great if they actually had a boardwalk that went out right to the water.
Be able to
Get
get some
some
saltwater
carnival games,
taffy.
things like that, yes. Next to these old shops, because there's a ton of those old shops in Cape Cod. But that's a selfish one, because 'cause that'd be one that I would use in the off season for,
Now
like, 4 points a night.
speaking of, I was just gonna say, could you imagine how interesting those point charts would be?
Mhm.
Because you have a much smaller season than they have at Hilton Head.
Right.
So most of your points are gonna be high for
June,
2 and a
July,
half
and
to 3
August.
months.
Yeah.
And like you said,
September
you're gonna
even.
be able to sneak up there during school vacation with the kids at maybe 4 for a studio and
Yeah,
8 or
exactly.
9 for a one-bedroom.
That'd be great weekend getaways, wouldn't it, for
Yeah,
locals?
yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
I
the
like that.
problem. I mean, me living here, I have so many options. If they had something up in your neck of the woods and you just at that point, "Well, you gotta get out. I've been cooped up. I just need to get a change of scenery and watch some college basketball
Right.
somewhere other than in my basement."
Yeah, because if Hilton Head was a 8-hour drive instead of a 17-hour drive, I would
You'd be all
probably
over that
do it
6 point.
once a winter, yeah, because that would be fantastic. Yeah, I like how we both have a New England one on there, though. That's interesting.
That's it. Isn't that
I
interesting?
didn't think you'd come up with a New England one for sure.
Yeah, no, me being so anti-New England and being a miserable curmudgeon like I am.
But that would be great, though, if you get forced to come back to visit Rhode Island, you could just stay at DVC
Oh, that's perfect.
instead of having to sleep on my couch in the basement.
That's perfect, and it's gonna be dog friendly, correct?
Well, yeah, sure.
It's gonna be one of the only pet-friendly DVC
Sure,
resorts.
sure, why not? We'll say yes to
But wait, there's more.
that. What's next on your list?
We're going out west, not as
Okay.
far west as my number 1, but we're going west, and we're going Big Sky.
Oh, that's the next one on my list as well.
Cards they have we'll discuss this then because they have an ABD that I am dying to do, and 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been interested, but you're at a dude ranch
That's
and
what I said. I put Dude Ranch, Wyoming, Montana Dude
Yes,
Ranch Resort. That's what
yes,
it needs to be.
that's where it is, and again, it's gonna be in conjunction with the ABD that they offer,
Mhm.
and another win-win for them is they could do one of those little, ABD escapes, a little 2-day, so you could do it at the beginning or after your stay at
Sure.
Big Sky, but it's perfect, and it's a great resort for the winter because you can do the skiing.
Yeah, a
I'm
lot
not
of
sure
people
how
like doing
far it
that.
is from Jackson Hole, but you could position something maybe closer to a ski resort where you could
Yeah.
use it 12 months a year.
And talk about Wilderness Lodge. You could just go all in on that theme.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm already thinking about that bison burger. That's gonna be
Mhm.
on the menu there, right?
Oh, yeah. Have, like, a game dinner kinda
Yep,
thing.
in the big lodge.
Yeah.
You'll have, like, those folk dancing that they do and
Yes.
little hoop-de-doo on a maybe an higher scale. I mean, there's
Yeah, like a dinner show
the
for sure.
sky's the limit for this resort.
And definitely it would be like a mix between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge because you would have the archery, you'd have the horseback riding,
Yes.
all that kinda stuff.
You could do, clay
You
shooting.
could have a working dude ranch and have, like, do, like, those kind of excursions there where you go out and they teach you all about that. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Now, is that an area of the country that you have any interest in visiting?
Not particularly.
No.
I mean, I'd go there, and I've heard good things, but it's expensive. That's like a big, like, rich
Yeah.
person thing right now.
Oh, yeah, Jackson Hole is like the ski resort. It's what Vail was back in the
Right.
'80s and '90s.
That's funny that you had that because I didn't really think that was interesting to you.
Yeah, parts the older I get, I'm telling you, moving here changes you because this does not have to be the be all end all.
Yeah. I do think of any that we've said so far, that one's the most likely to happen if it ever did.
Yeah.
I think if they were to open another
And
off
just because he
campus,
said they're not doesn't mean that
they
they're
never
not.
will. They never, yeah.
I don't think they will either. Trust me, I don't think they ever will. They're going to have something closer to the parks.
Right. But in 10 or 15 years, a new regime is in there and they see the trends going that way.
Right.
It's possible. And that would probably be one of the first places that comes up because it brings their West Coast audience into it.
And their mountain area, their Denver and,
right.
and Dallas Fort Worth, isn't that? They just have to go pretty much straight up north, little northwest. But you have a lot of big cities,
and there's a ton of land out there.
2-hour flight away.
Yeah, no, I could see that. That would be one I could definitely see. That would be the number one that I think would be most likely to happen if it were going to happen. I have one more on my list.
Oh, so we both have one?
I guess so. The last one on my list is going to be a little bit more, it's not as precise because I don't know the islands that well, but it's going to be in the Caribbean, maybe in conjunction with one of their private islands. I don't know the logistics of that, if there's an airport on any of those that they can get people in and out of, but I could see like a Castaway Key DVC resort. Okay. Or what's the other one? Lookout Key?
Lookout Key, yeah.
That's a new one. Maybe that one. Because those are in the Bahamas, correct? Both of those islands?
Yep.
So I guess I would say a Bahama. More of an all-inclusive family getaway, like a Sandals type place. With a water park built in, all that kind of stuff. Golf course. You definitely could build a golf course at one of those.
Yeah, depending on the geographic area that you have.
How much land and everything.
Yeah.
But I could see that. Because that would be great, whether you buy in there or not, but having that option to use your DVC points to stay at an all-inclusive Caribbean resort.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
And you could price it out like club level, where the studios are more expensive because it's all-inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just make it a little harder, I think. The point charts would be wacky. You'd need a lot more points to stay there, but you could make them cheaper points to begin with and then charge more fees. I mean, that doesn't really matter. We're just talking fantasy here, but I could see potentially getting in.
Dues are expensive at Vero Beach. How bad would it be there?
Yeah, right. $25 a point. I don't know. So that's the number one. I could maybe see that too, because that brings all of the Florida people and the East Coast people back into it as well.
Yeah.
As a common destination. Imagine taking a cruise. They like build the Disney cruises in where you can stay for a week after your cruise and then you come back on another cruise back to port.
Yeah, how sweet would that be?
Or like you do a 3-day cruise, you stay for 5 days and you come back on a 2-day cruise at the end, and it's all one package. You know, you pay for the cruise separate and use your points to stay. That'd be pretty sweet. Obviously, they'd have to work the logistics of that, but
yeah,
that'd be really cool too. What's your number one?
My number one is wine country.
Napa Valley. Okay.
Yes.
So Northern California.
Northern California, just outside the Bay Area. This is absolutely perfect. The weather is about as perfect as it gets if you like 70 degrees with no humidity, no wind.
Great food.
Great food.
You got the Disney Family Museum's not that far away.
Yep, you have that. You have a million wineries that you can be taken to.
San Francisco is a day trip away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
It's a perfect beginning or ending to your Disneyland vacation.
Sure. It's
Stay
about
Grand Cal for a few nights and then go up and just decompress up in wine country.
How far is that driving? Like 6 hours or so?
Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 or give and take.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I know California's huge, obviously. I just didn't know how far up it is from the Los Angeles area. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be interested in that for sure.
You're gonna have great restaurants, great spas.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
you're gonna have like a vineyard on property.
Sure.
Why not, right?
Why
Might as
not,
well.
right?
Could do
Sommeliers all over the
You
place.
could do like a grape stomping thing.
Yeah.
Make your own wine. Sangria University.
And that's
Perfect.
I have no interest in wine, but wine country is absolutely gorgeous. I
I've
love
heard
it
it's
there.
nice,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
What would it
Yeah.
would it be another like kind of wilderness lodge type, like woodsier or something else? Because like I could see the Grand Cal being in wine country.
Yeah, I could see that. Or it could be very open and light.
Okay.
I haven't really talked to our designers about this one,
I
but
was just
yeah,
curious.
it
Like
could
I
be
don't know.
both.
I'm not a good designer, but everything I picture is like the wilderness lodge plop somewhere.
Yeah, it's true because it's consistent with a lot of parts of this country.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. I like that. Some decent ideas, I think. Obviously, there's a million places.
Yeah, there's a million places.
I was also thinking, as an honorable mention, um, remember when they were trying to build that park in Virginia, Disney, like Disney's America Park or whatever?
Yeah.
That'd be a cool area, like the Gettysburg, like a revolutionary, historical, like Revolutionary War type theme,
Yep.
battleground kind of stuff in that area. I could see that. Virginia, Pennsylvania, potentially could work out. I was thinking of other ones too that are closer to other theme parks, but I don't know if Disney would do that. Like if you had one in like
Oh,
the Ozarks and you go to like Dollywood or something.
yeah.
But I don't think Disney would build a DVC and have people going to Dollywood while they're there. That wouldn't make a lot of sense for them.
Wasn't Dollywood in Tennessee?
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, but the Ozarks is Tennessee also. I don't think they're that far from each other.
Okay. What am I thinking of? Where was that part in Missouri where Marty
Branson?
worked? Yes. Was it Branson?
Branson, Missouri. Is that what you're talking about?
You remember Marty, who was the drug dealer?
That's the Ozark. You're talking about the Netflix show?
Yeah, that was the Ozarks, right?
That was the name of the show. Was Ozarks?
Yeah, that's in Missouri though.
I thought the Ozarks was What am I thinking of? This Tennessee?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the Ozarks
you're right.
is
Missouri.
South Central Missouri.
No, you're right. Thinking of something else. Doesn't matter. Anyway.
That's why studying maps when I was 6 years old and I go to the
It's paying off finally.
It pays off. Something finally paid. One thing that I was interested in school.
Finally paid off.
52 years, almost 52 years. Paid off. Speaking of Branson, Missouri, that's where Bev on our social media said that she would build one.
Oh, really?
Yes. Branson, Missouri.
That's interesting. That same reason though, because there's a lot to do there.
There's a lot to do there. Because then another one, our buddy Shane said all-inclusive in Turks. Kristen said she loves that idea.
That's similar to kind of the Bahama one, like with
Yes.
the island, yeah.
And then Nathan commented, I would love one in the Rocky Mountains, Aspen, Colorado, Jackson, Wyoming, Big Sky, Montana. So he's on board with us. Absolutely. Or we're on board with him.
Yeah, most likely. I think Ken made a separate post before you even posed the question, if you go back a couple days after last week's episode.
He had a lot of ideas, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember seeing it was a big one of the famous Ken Cabot wall of text posts that I love.
Yeah, I just found it. In answer to your question from this week's episode, I would love to see a DVC resort in Costa Rica.
Okay.
It has great weather year-round. It is closer to most people in the United States than Hawaii and would have greater potential for ABD add-ons.
That's what you like. You like
volcanoes, lava-heated hot springs, etc. Check out the Western Reserve, an all-inclusive golf resort and spa as an example of what a resort in Costa Rica would look like. Second, I believe a new DCL port at Lookout Cay, your suggestion.
Oh, yeah.
It's connected by road to other parts of the island, unlike Castaway, which is 100% Disney. If they could find a suitable location, maybe even adjacent to Lookout Cay, I could see great potential for a DVC there. And then he says, finally, and then this is another one where you're like, ooh, I like that. If they could figure this one out. A bit off topic, but I would not be terribly surprised to see DVC one day enter the cruise timeshare market. The concept has a lot of logistical hurdles right now, but so did the timeshare industry in the early 90s when DVC entered the picture and revolutionized the product. So good ideas here too.
I can't even wrap my head around how you would do a timeshare on a cruise.
DVC, yeah.
And it's Key, even though it's spelled K, it is pronounced Key for all the
yeah, I know. I never know how to pronounce it either. You go to the experts, and one person says Key, one person says K. So
it's the best one of the day.
It is the best one of the day. Could you imagine having a cruise timeshare?
I just don't know how that would work. Because that would be one where you'd have to sell weeks. You couldn't do it like points like DVC does.
Sure, yeah, because you couldn't do one night or 2 night. Yeah, you'd have to do weeks or
itineraries
where you could buy like a 4-night cruise.
Right.
And then use it that way. I don't know.
Be interesting though, for sure. All right. Why don't you bring us home unless you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's it. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at DVC Addicts. Email the show info@addictedtodvc.com and join our Facebook group, DVC Addicts. For my cousin and co-host Gary in Rhode Island, I'm Mike in Florida. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.